that LA presents for you guys?
They're the best team in the league. You know, that's not reflected in the table right now, but they're the best team in the league. They've won the MLS Cup the last 2 years, and you know, they typically mid-season on start to pick it up. And I think that showed in their last game, winning 5-1. They went with pretty much first choice lineup. Everybody back and healthy. Early in the year, they've played a lot of different lineups, played some young players. They've had some injuries, and you know, they typically ease into the season, and then they, at the end of the year, they, like I said, they hit their stride, and their rhythm and timing, how they go about a season is, I mean, you can write books on it. Arena's the most experienced winning coach in the league in terms of winning MLS Cup, and you know, we've got our hands full. We're playing their best lineup, their best team. They just smacked Philly 5-1, and we're going to need to play very well to win the game.
How much easier does a difficult schedule get when you're on a winning streak?
I don't know that it changes anything. You know, I mean, if you're losing and you have another game around the corner, sometimes it's really good because you got another game to erase the last game. So I don't think winning or losing really changes a compacted schedule too much. What I will say is we have a lot of guys playing well, and you know, as I said after last game, we have 17, 18 guys that we've used in the rotation. So when you're in a compacted schedule and you have guys playing well, then that helps. Because now you know, like I've said, you can go to different guys at different times, and you know you're going to get the same result, the same performance. And we've laid out, you know, we started prior to the Seattle Open Cup game, we had kind of tentatively laid out, lineups in a methodical rotation, and, you know, tried to fit the lineup to the opponent, keeping enough continuity so we're not just changing too much. You know, because there is a balance there. We need to keep continuity to keep performing well and keep playing consistently like we have been. But over the course of these, 6 games, we knew we would need to rotate as well. So we laid out a tentative plan, and so far we've been kind of following it. And there may be some things that change as we go along. Hopefully, there aren't new injuries that kind of force our hand on those things. But we feel like we have a good plan now with 4 games left, including the Open Cup, of how to approach these games and get results and rotate the squad. We'll refresh and keep continuity. So that makes me feel good.
At the beginning of the season, when you looked at kind of the halfway point and how many points you wanted to have, I've asked you this before, but you picked up a number of points since I've asked you. You're at 25 points with the chance to get to 28 by halfway. When you at the beginning of the season, how would you have felt thinking that might be what you got?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said early in the year, when we weren't getting points, things can change quick. It's a long season. If you get on a run, all of a sudden now the points are different. We're right on track. I mean, we're slightly over 1.5 points per game, which usually is good enough to get you in. That's 51 points. Last year that was good enough to get Vancouver in. We got 50, missed it by a point, so that rang true. So we're right on track. But like you said, we're only mid-season, so we have to keep staying on track. And can we now, instead of going 1.5, which puts you right there at the playoff kind of line, can we shoot for the top? We don't want to keep looking down and worrying about teams underneath us. We want to keep looking up and try to overtake the teams ahead of us. And to do that, it's a simple process. You focus on the next game and get 3 points. We did that when we weren't winning. We weren't worried about, every other game. We were worried about the next game, and we started winning the next game, and then we worried about the next game. We started winning the next game, and that's what we're going to do now. We're not thinking about 4 or 5 games that we've won. We're thinking about the next game. That's it. We're not thinking about Seattle. We're thinking about LA. So we're going to give everything to get 3 points, and then we're going to move on to the next one. And slowly but surely, we've creeped up the table, and we've gotten results, and we've played very well. And we've done it with different guys. So we're in a good spot, but, if we start losing, a bunch of games, then now we're not going to be in a good spot. The West is brutal. I think it's 8 of the 10 are from the West. 8 of the top 10 in this league right now, out of the 20 teams, are from the West.
Like you said, it's still a long season, but you guys are right in the Supporters Shield race as well right now. I'm not sure where you're at. After the game, you were at 4 points down. I'm not sure if that changed on Sunday.
Yep.
How's it feel knowing that you're just could be at the top of the league with a few more results?
Again, we just have to keep sight of the next game. I think it's very important. We can't do anything about the other teams and where they're at. All we can control is where we're at. And the only thing we can do to be in the Supporters' Shield race is keep winning. And so that's what we're going to stay focused on. We're not going to take our eye off the ball. We're going to keep our eye on the ball and focus, and the ball is the next game.
Is there a better defense in the MLS right now than the Timbers?
I don't know. I'm sure if you ask some of the other coaches around the league, then they would think their teams have the best defense. All I know is our teams perform very well. 7 clean sheets. We've been very consistent, and it's a team thing. So the back four and the goalkeeper gets credit, but it's team defending. If our front guys aren't chipping in and helping, our wingers aren't tracking the outside backs of the opponent, if our D-mids aren't protecting the back four, if our front guys aren't pressing, then we could have the best back four in the league, but they wouldn't do very well because they'd be under too much pressure. And that happened a bit last year at times. So the center backs in particular, they got called out a lot for not being very good, and I think in some ways it was unfair because the front guys weren't doing what they're doing this year in terms of defending. But I would say for sure Liam, Nat, Paparazzo, the 2 outside backs we've been using, those guys are up there with the best for sure.